Thanks a lot. My name is Günther Fehlinger. I can hear you very well. Hello, everybody. My name is Günther Fehlinger. I'm very happy to be here with you and to share my presentation. I'm fully supportive of the freedom of Circassia. We have an initiative, the Free Nations Forum, to create and to support 41 new states out of the Russian Empire. And I'm calling for the independence of Circassia and all the 41 new states, which should develop out of this hostile and genocidal state, which Russia and currently is. And I'm condemning the war of aggression, and I'm calling for the international community to end the support for the Russian Federation and to support the independence of Circassia. I would also thank you very much for the great initiative of this conference. It's an excellent event. I'm very happy about it. Great speakers and a great and timely initiative, which is very important. Next year, it will be the moment for freedom of Circassia, and we have to coordinate that. And the historic struggle for freedom of Circassia will come to a conclusion, a successful conclusion in 2024 and 5. I call the international community to recognize the Circassian genocide. It's very important for the people of Circassia to learn from the Ukrainian struggle to get the recognition of the Holodomor campaign. That is really very successful, especially in the last 2 years. And I'm calling as well on Turkey especially, and on Greece and on Austria as well, to recognize the Holodomor as a genocide. And also then the next stage is to internationally recognize the terrible crimes of colonial Russia against the Circassian people from 1864. I want in my presentation also talk about some important aspects for the whole region of the Southern Caucasus, of the Northern Caucasus, because the Northern Caucasus can only be independent if the Southern Caucasus is better integrated into the West. Therefore, it's very important that Georgia turns fully to the West and joins NATO and the European Union. And it's also necessary for Azerbaijan to join NATO and also to move into the customs union, and also to be neutralized Armenia, which is currently still in the Russian Defense Alliance. And this is very important. We must reorganize the Southern Caucasus states and their attitude and their alignment with global politics. So that's really very important. It's also important to integrate Georgia, Ukraine, and Moldova in the European Union by 2029 and make sure that this is happening. I'm calling as well for Azerbaijan and Armenia to aspire to join the EU customs union, like Turkey is already. And also the currency situation of the Southern Caucasus must be also reorganized. And I'm calling for a currency pact for Turkey. Turkey is, of course, the pivotal country, and I'm addressing in this presentation about Circassia also the Turkish politics towards Ukraine, and also the idea of Turkey returning to the West and breaking with Russia. But it's very important, if Turkey is seriously turning to the West and breaking with Russia, we can also integrate Turkey into the European Union. It's absolutely possible. This Turkey needs to fully commit to the victory of Ukraine in the liberation war. Also, Turkey needs to break with Russia completely, and also to back the currency towards the euro, and also support the independence and unification of Cyprus and the NATO membership, and also the customs union membership of Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Georgia. This is very important, and Turkey must turn into a full market democracy. And also Turkey must support the Circassian freedom struggle. And Turkey must support the breakup of Russia, because that's really important. So many Turkic people are living inside the Russian Federation, those terrible circumstances. And unfortunately, the current Turkish politics is very complicit with the Russian situation. And that's not really acceptable. We have to have a new foreign policy in Turkey. And that's the way forward if we want to really succeed with the independence of Circassia. Then let me talk about the Caucasus in general. We need something like a Caucasus Benelux, a federation like we have it in between the Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Belgium, Benelux. This is very important. Regional integration is very important because it will be many, many new small states. Circassia, Dagestan, Chechnya, but also inside the current Russian Federation, this terrorist unity, we will have a lot of new states, 41. So it's very important to have regional integration. And here we need something like a Caucasian, not federation, not a union, but regional cooperation like we have it in the European Union. This is very important. The next important point is also that together with the process which we have started for the freedom of the people inside Russia and China, we also have to very clearly go in the direction of dismantling Iran. Iran is a terrorist state. Iran is now supplying most of the Shahed drones towards the Russians to attack the cities of Ukraine. This is an unbelievable war crime. And we need to make very sure that Iran is broken up. And therefore, I call as well for the freedom of South Azerbaijan. And this is very important that South Azerbaijan and the Circassian people, and they create an alliance of the new states to emerge out of the Russian anti-Iranian state. And this is basically the way forward. I call it ex-Russia, ex-China, ex-Iran, and the fall of the last hostile empires. It will come, and it's also absolutely deserved, and it will be a much better world, because once the Russian Terrorist Federation is de-recognized, we can then work, as we will know how to do, with nation building, with regional cooperation, with the integration of Circassia in the UN, in the OSCE, in the Council of Europe, in the Regional Cooperation Council, in CEFTA, to have a currency back with the euro, to have a free trade agreement with the European Union, to be fully recognized internationally and very successful, and also to be denuclearized and decolonized, and then to have a major international recovery package in order to smooth the fears that this will be a complicated transition. It might be complicated, but we know exactly how to do it. We have many, many new countries. Let's not forget that we, in the last 30 years since the end of the Soviet Union, we have managed very well to integrate 30 new countries in the European Union, so many in NATO, and this was a very successful process, and we have to continue. I'm calling my international friends here in this call as well for support of NATO enlargement, for Kosovo, for Bosnia, for Austria, for Ireland, for Ukraine most of all, because the victory of Ukraine and the integration of Ukraine in NATO and the European Union is what will make all these important changes, and it will lead to the disintegration of Russia and to the freedom of Circassia, and that's what we have to achieve. I'm also always reminding we have not completed all the integration inside the European Union, NATO. We still have Ireland as neutral country and Malta, and I call all the countries to join NATO, and that will be also in the long term the future of Circassia, to be part of the EU and of NATO if you choose to do so, and that will be hopefully a very good decision to take. We also have to reorganize the United Nations, because Russia must be basically frozen, the membership, because they have broken all the international laws internally, externally, with the war against Ukraine. So it's very logical that India will replace Russia in a first step in the Security Council. This must be the most important reform on the global level in the coming weeks, and that's very important. I want to talk shortly about history. You in Circassia, you know the history much better. But I don't want to make an illusion. It will not be America who will recognize Circassia first. They have not supported the breakup of Yugoslavia. They have not supported the breakup of the Soviet Union. But in the case it will come, it will be America which will stand at your side and when you have achieved freedom. And that will be also very important. So please see this historic precedent of the dissolution of Yugoslavia, of the dissolution, not at least of the Austrian Empire after World War I, and also, let's always say, in the area of Circassia, it's very logically also in relation to Turkey, it's always the precedent of the dissolution of the Ottoman Empire. So if the Ottoman Empire can be dissolved and the Austrian Empire, Yugoslavia, the Soviet Union, Russia can certainly as well be dissolved. And we have very successfully managed to absorb many countries of the ex-Yugoslavia already, and the same can happen. When it's happening, you know, it's very logical, and you must all be prepared for that, and that's very important, because the logic is that next year, when the presidential elections of Russia is coming, and then it will be the International Women's Day on the 8th of March, and the 1st of May, the International Workers' Day. And think always about the president of former Yugoslavia. When they had the falsified elections of September 2000, it was then within 2 weeks that the people in the 5th of October revolution in the year 2000 against Milosevic. And again, I call for this. So there must be a Russian spring. There must be the breakup of Russia next year in 2024 between March and May. And you in Circassia must prepare for that. It must be organized in Buryatia, in Siberia, in Sakha, in Karelia. Everybody must at the same time simultaneously rise against the very, very disastrous elections of Putin in 2024. And the falsification of that election must be then the turning point to call for revolution and for the breakup of the Russian Federation. And only the breakup of the Russian Federation will bring the freedom for Circassia. Also, for some of the international audience, I would like to remind you that we need to do much more for the unity of Europe. And then we have in the first 1.5 years of war. We cannot rely only on the military victory of Ukraine with the modest supply we gave them, but we need also institutionally to win the war. That means we need to have also more NATO membership of more countries, more EU membership, and more Eurozone and Schengen enlargement. And this is very important. I have a whole list here in my presentation, which I can share online on Twitter, on my feed. You will see that. For Circassia, let me conclude. And this is what I strongly believe. I call it the Fehlinger doctrine, that big bully empires can break apart into small, better, peaceful states. We need to just have a secure regional reform integration framework available. And we need not to be afraid of the disintegration of such hostile disaster states as Russia. And we have the president. Montenegro is free, and so can be Circassia. Croatia is free, and so will be Circassia. Kosovo is free, and so will be Circassia. And Ukraine is free and will win, and so will be as well Circassia free and will win its independence. Just you need to prepare, and you need to coordinate with the other nations lost in the prison of nation, which Russia is currently and was since 200 years or longer. And you need to prepare for freedom, and you need to orient, as we have done in Montenegro, Croatia, Kosovo, Ukraine, Azerbaijan. So many new countries have developed, and they are very successful, and you will be as well in Circassia. That's what I'm calling for the free and independent Republic of Circassia, and I wish you success, prosperity, and peace. But I say it will be also a very difficult process in the next 1.5 years, and everything is decided by the victory of Ukraine. So please, Slava Ukraine, support Ukraine's victory and liberation. This will lead to the series of events, which will also lead to the liberation of Circassia. Thanks a lot for listening. All the best. Freedom for Circassia.